I'm still using my timeline and tweens file. I am going to go ahead and lock that motion tween layer, and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to rename this one shape tween. Now, shape tween is different than a motion tween. It actually allows you to morph a shape into a different shape. So what I'm going to start with is a circle. I want my object drawing mode off because I want it to draw a shape. And this is very important. You can't create a shape tween on an object. It can only be on a shape. I am going to give it a solid color instead of a gradient. And I am going to draw a circle, and I'm drawing it, oops, let me do that one more time. I don't want a stroke, I just want to fill. I'm drawing it kind of in between where the ball would be bouncing. So it's kind of a guess. So right about there, drawing a circle. Okay, if I click on it, it's got the dots on it. It says it's a shape up here in the properties. That's how I know it's a shape. Okay? Then, remember we have 2 seconds of animation here. So what I want to do is I want here at frame 20, frame 20, I want to insert a keyframe. Now, I don't really want I do want a keyframe. I don't want this here. What I want now is to use my square and create a square that covers that circle like this. Okay, so that red square should be not visible at all on frame 20. Then on frame 40, instead of a keyframe, I'm going to insert, well, actually, let me do this first. If I click on this and look at my properties, notice the position and size. 357.6, 125.25, and it's not going to be correct when I do this. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do a keyframe so that I can see those there again. I'm going to create a yellow. Okay, so you notice how each one of these were different colors. I'm going to create a star, a 5-point star, and let me see if that's about the right size that I want. Okay, so before I move that over, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm remembering 357, 125, and so I'm going to move this up to where it gets to about 357 and 125. That way I know that they are approximately in the same spot. Okay, so that's pretty close. I'm okay with that number right there. So now what I have to do is I am going to right click on frame 1, and I'm going to choose to create a shape tween. So now between frame 1 and 20, notice how it morphs from a red circle to a blue square. Then if I right click on 20, create shape tween, it's going to morph from the blue square to the yellow star. Then right here on frame 41, so that it morphs from the star back to the circle. Actually, probably right here. I don't want it to just stop being a star and go to a circle. So I'm going to go back to frame 1, and I'm going to right click and copy. And then here in frame 48, I'm going to insert keyframe, and oops, I should have done insert blank keyframe, and then I can right click and paste in place, and then I can do right click, create shape tween. So now it's going to go from the star back to the circle. Okay, so now when I save it, I can go to the control menu and choose test movie or test. So if I do a test, notice it opens it up in this little file here, and it says that it's my file name .swf. Okay, and this is the file that we want. So if you go to File and Publish Settings, you can see what it's publishing. It's publishing right now a .swf, which they call a flash file. Okay, it requires Flash Player on the computer in order to run it. It's also, though, doing an HTML wrapper. That means that it's creating a web page that has the code that holds the SWF file. We don't need that right now. All we need is the SWF. Okay, so we can hit OK on that, and again, control test. That does it. You should be able to look in your file folder and see those two files. So here is my timeline and tween. Oops, right here is my timeline and tweens flash file. Then I have the SWF file. It also has the HTML file that I created before I turned that off, but that's okay. So here it is, and that's what you're going to use to update your canvas.